What's up? Today we got Thunderman's Season 2, Episode 5, Haunted Thunderman's Part 1. In Part 1, this episode, in Part 1, this episode starts off in Ghost World, where we see Louie and Miles walking through Ghost World. Miles says they're so lost, and Louie says, "Oh, really? Here's Drippy Dan's ice cream world. Ice cream extravaganza. The Drippy Dan's ice cream extravaganza. The happiest place in Ghost World." Louis says they must then hears some stuff and says they must be at a mint chip. Miles says this isn't an ice cream factory. It's Ghost World's present for the criminally insane. Miles says this is a place that built the most ruthless criminal ever, the Green Ghoul. Louis says he thought it was a myth, but like unicorns in Canada. Wow, writers. Wow. Making a joke about my country of Canada. Wow, writers. Wow. Never knew you could be so mean to make a joke about Canada. Miles says he was real close to taking over the world until he was stopped by the amazing Thunderman, the greatest superhero to ever walk the planet. Yeah, Miles is a simp for Hank. Yeah, Miles simps over Hank throughout the entire crossover. Just to remind you guys, Miles is a simp for Thunderman. He loves the dude so much, even though Hank doesn't deserve that because throughout the entire 2 seasons that I've reviewed so far, Hank hasn't done anything to prove why he's an egotistical. He makes fun of his wife sometimes, and he doesn't like him. So why does he deserve the greatest superhero to walk the planet title? I guess he. Anyway, Louis says, Miles, make believe is too. You believe in way too silly things. Pretty sure this is where King Kong plays racquetball. Miles says, let's get out of here. Louis says, about to get ready for Halloween tomorrow. Those humans won't stand a chance against his vampire bat. Then Louis turns into a pumpkin costume and tries to fly, but only bounces into the prison wall. Miles is like, you cracked it. This is the worst. This is one of the worst times he didn't bring his lip balm and his cracking pen. And they leave. As they leave, the Green Ghoul escapes prison, vowing revenge on Thunderman because this dude waited 20 years just to get revenge on one. This guy had to wait 20 years just to get revenge on one dude. Dude had nothing better in his. The Green Ghoul had nothing better to do in prison but then vow revenge. For 20 years. Yeah. Green Ghoul escapes prison and vows revenge on Mighty Thunderman as he goes with Miles and Louie. Then cut to Barb taking on Hank's splinter from Chopsticks. Then Phoebe shows up asking Barb if she's seen her black eyeliner. She needs it for her Halloween costume. Max shows up saying she's dressing up for Halloween. Phoebe says Cherry's having a big bash. She's sure he wants to come. Everyone would not want that. Wow, Phoebe. You roasted my boy Max. You roasted my boy Max Thunderman. Max says Halloween's are lame. Begging for candy, cheesy costumes. And am I right, Colosso? Then we see Colosso dressed as a wizard. Says, oh yeah, totally lame. Then Billy shows up, and I just realized that Billy's dressed like a race car driver, and Nora is sushi. And I love how Billy's dress. I just realized I love how Billy's race car outfit is. It says Thunderman on the bottom, and then it says Cost Club. which is a good reference to that season 2 episode this season where Barb and Hank went to Cos Club, which is cool. Also, it says Thunderman for some reason. Maybe it's to show that he loves his dad and he loves Cos Club. Yeah, Billy's a race car driver. Billy's going as a race car driver for Halloween, and Nora's going as sushi. Nora, I don't know why you're going as sushi of all things. Like Billy, at least Billy has as race car driver and has cool name stuff that relates to him on it. You're just sushi. Yeah. Billy says, thanks to his super speed, they're gonna rake in candy from all over the world. Nora says, yeah, they're skipping the country that tastes like goat. Then the thermometer alerts them to the appearance of a future recurring character. Super Present Kickbutt. Yeah, Super Present Kickbutt becomes a major recurring character in the show. And I think this season and the show's later seasons. Which is interesting because she's an interesting character. She's only in this one scene throughout the entire crossover, but she makes countless appearances over the series, which is interesting that her first appearance is in a crossover. But Dynamite alerts them about an emergency transmission from the Hero League. Hank says the Hero League, and Barb says it's Super President Kickbutt. Super President Kickbutt tells Hank that the Green Ghoul has escaped. Max says, didn't Hank get thrown president? Hank says, yeah, 20 years ago. They wouldn't recognize him. It was before he had kids. And then Barb's like, yeah, having kids was so good on your hips. Okay, that was kind of a funny joke. Yeah, kind of a funny joke. Yeah, kind of a funny joke. Super President Kickbutt says Louie with a pumpkin boy was seen, or Louie, but they just call him Pumpkin Boy. They call him a pumpkin boy. Was seen at Pumpkin Boy, or Louie, was seen at the scene of the escape. Super President Kickbutt shows a hologram of Louie. Super President Kickbutt says she doesn't know why he's in a pumpkin outfit, but maybe he can help. They tracked him his whereabouts to New Orleans. Then Billy says, New Orleans, guys, he's right here. Like they were doing so good. Just didn't like the joke. I didn't like the whole, Billy doesn't realize it's a hologram. Laugh. No, writers, you're doing so well with these dumb Billy jokes being done. Okay, anyway. Yeah. Super President Kickbutt says Hank's the only superhero to ever defeat the Green Ghoul. They need him to come out of retirement, but it was funny because my Paramount Plus subtitle says come out of requirement, which was so funny when I saw it. It was weird. It was weird. Don't know why they changed that, but anyway. Come out of retirement and do it again. They will deliver everything he needs in a steel beam case, and a steel beam case falls through the wall. Falls through the roof. Super President Kickbutt says, good luck, Thunderman. Super President out. But because she says Super President Kickbutt later, she says Super President out. But because because later she says Super President Kickbutt out. I just changed it to that. So she says super president out, and then she leaves. But weirdly that they don't keep that, and they change it to super president kickbutt out. Billy says, is Hank really going to do it? Hank says, the world needs him. It may be the most dangerous, life-threatening assignment of his career. And they're all coming with him. Because we need the cast to cross up. We need the cast to hang out with the Hathaways cast. So they're coming with him because we need a crossover plot. Billy says, plan a vacation. And Barb says, this is not a vacation. Hank is going to battle the green ghoul. Phoebe says, what about her party? She's bringing the dip. Max says, you are the dip. I love Max. But anyway, didn't Phoebe say it was Cherry's bash? So this weirdly confuses me. First she says it's Cherry's bash, then she says, what about her party? Then she says she could be, then later she says she could have been at Cherry's party. At the sweetest party of the year. Hank says, yeah, Max says, she is the, Phoebe says, I'm bringing the dip. Max says, you are the dip. Again, I love Max. Hank says, sorry, but the green ghoul might come here looking for him. It's not safe for them to stay here. Phoebe says she's not missing the party of the year because of some green ghoul. There's no way she's going to New Orleans. Then cut to them in Pied Square with Hank saying, welcome to New Orleans. Then after the logo sequence, which I usually say opening, but this episode it doesn't have an opening. It has a crossover logo sequence. We cut to Kishner High School, which is never named in the episode. I just caught. Anyway, we see Taylor talking to her in the Haunted Hathaways portion. We see Taylor talking to her boyfriend Scott. If he's got his Frankenstein costume on, got his Frankenstein costume for Chad's Halloween party. Which is Scott says he has some bad news. Scott says, right, Chad's party. He has some bad news. He got a call from Peoples and Pat's Partners Forever. You know, Pap. Which is he has to administer dog medicine to homeless worm medicine to homeless dogs, and that means he can't go to Chad's party. Phoebe says he promised that was gonna be their first official party together. Chad was super stoked they were going. Then we see Chad saying he's really excited as they're coming to his party. Then he leaves. Then Taylor says, or as excited as Chad gets. Scott says sorry, but Paps really needs him. Taylor says fine, just get another cute Frankenstein to go with, who doesn't leave her alone on Halloween. Scott says sorry. He's really sorry, but he'll be thinking of her every time he's deworming dogs. That sounded better in his head. Meanwhile, at Pied Square, Hank says, according to Hero League, Louie the Pumpkin Boy has been spotted at the bakery. Max says, sounds like he knows Hank's weakness. Hank says they're close to danger, so they need them each to wear one of these. Billy says, cool moon net, and asks Nora what his mood is. And Nora says, clueless. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Nora. Yeah, I just love how Nora says clueless. Or the way that Allison Ricky says it is better, but the way that he says clueless, like that is so great. That is just such a great, because I guess she's roasting Billy that his mood is that he's clueless, but yeah, clueless. Hank says it contains a jewel called Demonite. It protects you from ghostly possession. Barb says, Like he says ghost possession, but later they change it to ghostly. But anyway, Barb says, and do not take them off. As the green ghoul were to possess one of them and add their powers to his, there'll be no stopping him. Then Michelle shows up and says, welcome to Pine Square. Welcome to Pine Square. The pies used to be squared, but that didn't work, and she's now repainting the sign. Phoebe says she should be going to Cherry's party, which for some reason she said her party earlier. That confused me. And says, with her friends, not sitting here wearing demon bling. Then she asks Max, why is he taking off his demon bling? Max says he wants to catch the green ghoul, not ward him. He wants to not ward it. And because if Max takes down the greatest supervillain ever, then he'd be the greatest ever. Phoebe says Hank says he's a level 13 ghost. What makes Max think that he's gonna take down the green ghoul? Max says he has this. Then Colosso shows up, pops out. Max asks Colosso what he's doing there, and Colosso says because he wants to see Max take down the green ghoul. Then Max says he'll deal with him later and stuffs him back in the bag. Then Max reveals his actual thing he was actually getting out, the ghost zapper. It detects ghosts and blasts away their superpower and blasts their powers away. It goes off and Phoebe says it detects lemon square. Max says it could be haunted lemon squares. You don't know. Meanwhile, Frankie says this is an outrage. These are posted all over town. Louis says, give this girl one piece of Halloween candy by order of the mayor. That's cold. Frankie says, I know. She hates playing poker with that clown. He's just crying because she took too much last year. Louis says, or because she put up a billboard that says, I win, suckers. Which was kind of funny. Frankie says she got beat this thing. Louis says, lucky for her, she's got a top-notch ghost at her disposal. Frankie says, he's got a cousin? And Louis says, he means him. Observe. Then he goes to where Billy and Ori were sitting, despite Hank, Max, and Phoebe sitting there prior. I'm guessing they changed seats for some reason. And Billy and Ori are sitting there, and he tries to he tries to levitate a table. But Nora says she knows that face. Asks Louis if he has to use the bathroom. Louis freaks out and goes back to see Frankie. Frankie says, problem. Then Miles shows up and asks what's going on. Louis says Nora saw him, so he scared her. Which he didn't. But Miles realizes that Billy and Nora can see them, which means they have the gift. And poofs into Hank's luggage and sees the suit and discovers he's thunderman. Phoebe asks, how do you poof out of that luggage? And Max says, Miles says, he's a ghost. Then they scream. Then Taylor says, the thundermans can see ghosts. So you can hear ghosts. Then Michelle tries to deny it by saying, they don't have ghosts. Then Miles says, it's okay. They have the gift. All superheroes do. Then Hank tries to deny being a superhero, but Billy says if he wasn't a superhero, could he do this? Using his super speed, and Michelle says, she's gonna say yes. Then Max says, hey, it's a little pumpkin boy, which I got from this background image. Then, which I got from the background image of this video, where Max is pointing out Louis, calling him pumpkin boy. And Louis says, oh, his grandma calls me that, sir. Then he's out of here. But then he poofs into a pizza suit. Phoebe's like, what is going on? Then Ray shows up, then Ray Preston shows up, scaring Barb, destroying the face off of Frankie's poster. Then Frankie says, can you get to 400 more of them? Nora says, if the jig is up, she's gonna eat the brownie. But for some reason, the Paramount Plus subtitle says, if you're gonna take the job, then she'll heat up the brownie. Which is like, huh? But she more says, if the jig is up, she's gonna heat up this brownie, and she lasers the brownie. Michelle says she'll close up for the day. After, Hank tells Ray how the green ghouls escaped, and because of it, the whole world's in danger. Miles says, yeah, because he's a simp. Then Miles says, until his hero, the mighty thunderman, swoops in and saves the planet. Ray says he saves the planet every day with his music. And I just love Michelle is rolling her eyes at this, seeing that she's seen his plays music too much in her own show. Miles says he's annoying, tells Ray he's annoying thunderman, and Hank silently says a little. Max tells Taylor he's never passed the same through a ghost before. Taylor says, and you still haven't, not a ghost. But wants to ask Max a question. She asks Max if it's weird if a boy she started dating would rather deem worm dogs than go to a party with her. Max says, not sure he cared. And then Taylor says she loves animals, but it's Halloween. But then Max freezes her with his freeze breath. Phoebe's like, Max, and then unfreezes Taylor with her heat breath. Then says, yeah, sorry for her brother. You'll like him less and less when you get to know him. No, Phoebe, I've known him for 2 seasons, and I've known Max for 2 seasons now, and it makes me love him more. So, you lie, Phoebe. I've got to know Max for 2 seasons of the show so far, and I love him. So you lie, Phoebe. So, yeah, then Frankie recruits Billy and Nora for the greatest trick-or-treating plan ever. Frankie says Billy and Nora will be the greatest wingman ever. Then Louie shows up saying he thought he was Frankie's wingman. Nora says they have superpowers, and Louie says, sweetie, superpowers? He's the baddest ghost in all of New Orleans. Then he poofs into a suit with a woodpecker pecking at his wooden nose. And Frankie says he did say he was the baddest. Wow, this is supposed to be her best friend, and she's just roasting him. Then Chad shows up for his party pastries and goes to talk to Phoebe and Taylor. Taylor says, Chad, he made eye contact. Is there something wrong? And also, kind of interesting that Chase Austin, who plays Chad, was actually the boyfriend of Kira Costner, who plays Phoebe at the time, which is interesting. Don't know how they broke up, but or even if they're still together. But it's kind of interesting though, as when this episode aired, Chase Austin, who would go on to be playing Piranha and Mighty Man, was dating Kira Costner, aka Phoebe, which is interesting. Chad says Taylor asks Chad. Taylor says Chad made eye contact. Is he okay? Chad says never better and introduces himself to Phoebe and invites Phoebe to his Halloween party. Taylor says they can go together. That's when Max's ghost zapper goes off, and Max says sorry he won't be able to make to his party. Chad says he never invited Max. That then says until today Phoebe and Chad leave. Max says what was that guy's problem? Says oh, you mean that he's cute, charming, and doesn't like Max? Not a problem. Okay, they're really making me not like Phoebe. They're not. They are not. They are not. They are not. Huh? Hi, Max. Oh, hi, Max. Anyway. They're just not making me like Phoebe. I just don't know why. Is it because I still haven't forgiven her for what she did to Billy and Nora? Or is it because she's dissing Max and Max deserves not to be dissed? Doesn't have to be roasted. I think it's the second one. And the first one, Max says, whatever. Time to catch himself a green ghoul. Then outside we see Chad watching them as his eyes glow green. Oh no. Meanwhile at the Halloween part, Meanwhile, Phoebe and Taylor are in their Halloween costumes. Phoebe is a pirate, and Taylor is a 50s or 70s stream character. Michelle asks Barbara if it's okay for Phoebe and Taylor to go to a party with the green ghoul out there. And Miles poofs in saying, don't worry about the girl. Phoebe's sidekick, the pulverizing phantom, will be there to protect them. Phoebe says, PP, and Miles says, ooh, now he hears it. Meanwhile, Ray asks Hank what he's doing, and Hank says he's building a state-of-the-art ghost cage. Once he throws the green ghoul in the cage, he'll be powerless to escape. Ray says, move over, he'll help. And Hank says, Hank says, he's okay. And he's okay. Hank says, not to brag, but this is kind of a superhero thing. Ray says he may not be a superhero, but he's a level 10 ghost. And Miles needs to know his dad got some game. And Hank says, he's got this. Then Metal falls, and he says, Ray can help. Max tries to sneak out, but Hank catches him with his ghost zapper and tells him how he's not going after the green ghoul. Max says someone has to, and Hank's obviously too busy building a playhouse with his new friend Ray. Hank says it's too dangerous, and it's not a playhouse. It's really hard to put together a ghost cage thing. Max says, come on, catch the green ghoul, we'll put him on the map in the supervillain world. Hank says, Max is not ready, and stop pretending you're a supervillain. Max says he's not pretending, and Hank says, we all know it's a phase, Max. It's time for him to grow out of it. Wow. Who knew Chris Coleman could get so mad? Then Ray says, he isn't, then Max leaves. Then Ray says he doesn't know where to put the slide, and Hank says it's not a playhouse. It's not a playhouse. The Dr. also pops out of Max's backpack, asking him if he's going to do the right thing. Max says he's going to disobey Hank and hunt the green ghoul. Then Colossus says that's the right thing. Meanwhile, Frankie is telling Billy and Nora, I'm sorry, but Billy and Nora have the worst plot in the entire crossover event. Wow, is their plot boring. Like, the whole plot is to hunt down the green ghoul. And then you got this random plot with Billy Norton. It's like, and it's kind of boring. Not saying that Billy Norton are bad in this crossover. They're just disconnected from the actual plot. So it kind of makes their plot with Frankie kind of boring. But anyway, meanwhile, Frankie is telling Billy and Nora about their plans going to get the candy. They say the plan, and then Louis shows up, saying he didn't hear his name in the plan. Frankie says she, Billy, and Nora have it covered. This is a huge night. Let's face it, Louis's been in kind of a slump. Louis says how long he's been in this quote-unquote slump, and she's like, how long has she known him? And he says, Louis can't believe Frankie doesn't want his help. And Frankie says, don't look at it like that. And he says, what? Well, and she says, yeah, just don't look at it like that. And Louis leaves. Meanwhile, at Chad's party, Phoebe and Taylor gets another text from Scott. She feels bad about it and says she really thinks she scared him off. Phoebe and teased them, scared him and teased them about not bringing another date to the party. Phoebe says, Taylor, he ditched you to unwarmed dogs. He deserves. Taylor says, let's keep that to themselves. Phoebe says, he could use a little scaring, and she could use an awesome party. Taylor says, speaking of awesome, Chad is totally checking her out. Phoebe Phoebe asks Taylor how she look, and Taylor says looks like she's missing an eye. So Phoebe removes her eye patch. Chad asks if he wants to show Phoebe around. The Moonlit Garden is bewitching. Phoebe says she would like to. Then Milo proofs in, saying, "Sidekick, here he comes," and starts dancing. Phoebe's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, what are you doing? And he's second guessing the type. Then Max shows up, and Phoebe's like, "What now?" And goes to talk to Max. And asks Max Max says, pretending he'll show Dad. He'll show Hank. What's it, Dad? He says, he'll show Hank who's the real one pretending. Then Then Phoebe scares him, asks him what he's doing when he's supposed at the party. She thought he was ghost hunting. And Max says, he is. He really thinks there's a ghost at the party. He thinks there's a ghost at this party. Yeah. Max says this ghost zapper is detecting extreme ghost energy at the party. He says it'll lead him right to Miles. Max says Miles isn't the only ghost at the party. Knowing the bouncer is coming, Max says Taylor is his girlfriend. Then Sydney Scotia from great shows like Some Assembly Required and Reboot the Guardian Code comes in and takes a picture of Max and Taylor together and says she's gonna post it on the internet. Taylor tells her, or what she's actually called, Amanda, but she's Sydney Scotia to me. She tells Sydney Scotia don't to do it. That she's not with Max and starts saying that Max is gross and she's not with him and blah. But it says they have to get back the photo. Max says Sydney Scotia is gonna go into that, gonna post that picture everywhere, and says Taylor and Max are dating, and it's gonna say Taylor and Max are dating. Max says, "Who cares? She can do a lot worse." She says she and Max have to get to that photo back. Max says he's helping. He's helping. Max says, "No way." He's a green gold catch. And Taylor says, "Walk away, or I'll shove this candy corn so deep in your ear you sneeze orange." Max says, so he decides to help her. Miles shows up, but Phoebe just says that she lost her phone. So Miles goes away to find it. Meanwhile, Billy and Nora says that the old lady was about to give them hard candy until they remind her they're not 70. Then Louie shows up saying, "Evening, Super Chump." Frankie asks Louie why he's dressed as a Christmas elf. It's Halloween, not how weird. Louie says he knows what day it is, and the boot keeps his feet toasty, which is kind of funny. Louie tells them to check out his bucket and asks where their candy is, and Billy reveals that their candy is a mountain of candy. Frankie asks Louie that the three of them are crushing on their own. Maybe he should go see if Santa needs some help. And Louie says, is Frankie mocking him? Frankie says, so they're on the same page. And Louie says he woken up the sleeping elf. Then watch him learn. Only to poof the bucket that was in his hand onto his head, and none of the candy falls on it. How? His bucket full of candy landed on his head, and none of it landed on him, which is weird. Then he says buckets on heads are big in Paris, and proves out. At the garden, Phoebe says, "What a beautiful night." Chad says, "Beautiful night, beautiful girl." Then Chad says that amulet is fascinating. May I see it? And Phoebe gives him her demonite necklace, which is the one thing Barb told you not to do, Phoebe. Chad says, pure demonite. It protects you from ghostly possession. See, told you, Hank was saying it wrong. Phoebe says, "Hey," ask Chad about it. Know that? How we notice that? Then Chad reveals he's the Green Ghoul by saying, "Because I'm not Chad." And then the Green Ghoul possesses Phoebe, and the Green Ghoul knocks Chad out and says, with his ghost powers and Phoebe's superpowers, he will rule the world. But first, to get revenge on Thunderman, mwahahaha, to end part 1. In part 2, in the Haunted Thunderman's part 2, at Chad's part party, Taylor tells Max to come on and tells Max that he's a first superhero. He's really super slow. Max says he's a super villain, and Taylor reminds Max of Phoebe, and Taylor reminds Max of Phoebe. Okay, and Taylor says they have to find Sydney Scotia and delete the photo of them before Scott sees it. Max says, "What's the big deal if Scott sees the photo?" And Taylor says she's totally new to this whole dating couples thing, but she's pretty sure number one rule is don't hold hands with other guys. Max puts the wrong girl's phone in the punch bowl. And Taylor gets on alert that Sydney Scotia posted the photo. Scott's gonna see it, her life is over. And Max says Taylor needs to see the positive, that he looks good in a photo. Meanwhile, out in the garden, Green Ghoul is testing Phoebe's heat breath, saying it's so fun, like a new toy. Then Phoebe tries to control her body, but the Green Ghoul makes Phoebe slap herself. Then Miles shows up. The Green Ghoul tells him, saying that he can find Phoebe's phone, because that's still a thing. And Green Ghoul tells Miles to go away. Miles says he could be a valuable asset. He's a level 5 ghost. But Green Ghoul says he's a level 13. And the Green Ghoul uses Phoebe's heat breath to freeze Miles. Then the Green Ghoul says, "Stay cool, bird boy." See you around, pee-pee boy. He should really change that. Meanwhile, this boring storyline. Get to the good stuff. Meanwhile, with Frankie and Nora high five. Nora says it's pretty awesome, but don't let the success go to her head. Nora wants to go home and eat her candy. Frankie wants to go back to City Hall to show the mayor 3 chins who runs the town. Frankie tells Billy to make a Yui, which I don't know what that means. It's probably an adult joke that I don't know why this show is making. Probably an adult joke, because I don't know what it means. When the candy starts to fall from the wagon, and the kids in Halloween costumes come for the candy they stole. Meanwhile, back to the good plot. Hank and Ray are testing the Green Ghoul trap when Ray starts buzzing, and Hank with a buzzer, buzzing with his buzzer, so Bob shoots some electricity to get them to stop acting like kids. Then Louie shows up, bummed about how Frankie abandoned him. Michelle then shows up, telling them how Chad had grown green-eyed. Louie accidentally traps them in the Green Ghoul's trap, and they say they need help, but Louie calls them drama queens. Louie says he'll go to that party and warn them, but instead he transports himself to the Arctic. Meanwhile, at the party, Matt's ghost zapper goes off. Taylor says she needs to answer that fluid to Scott, and he's not answering. Or it's one text message. Max says he tried carrier pigeon. Then Louie shows up asking where Max and Phoebe, who he thinks is named Jocelyn, which is funny. And Max corrects him that her name's Phoebe, but Louie's like, "Are you sure?" Okay, that's kind of funny. Then Taylor tells Louie to tell them what's going on, and they say Chad's been possessed by the Green Ghoul. Max says he knew there was something he didn't like about that kid. He was interested in Phoebe. Always a red flag. Again, I love Max. Taylor says Chad and Phoebe to the courtyard, so they go there to warn her. Boring billionaire subplot. The kids are being attacked by the kids who want their Halloween candy. Frankie tells billionaires throw apples at them, and they do. Nora lays those tree branch, but they walk all over it. Meanwhile, at Chad's party, Chad's recovering. Taylor, Phoebe, Max, and Louis show up. Max asks the ghoul where Phoebe is, but Chad says he doesn't know where he is. What he is, or what he's even doing there. Chad says he's supposed to be writing a secret. Max tells him to drop the act, but Taylor says, how would the Green Ghoul know that Chad likes to go as Ryan Seacrest for Halloween every year? Max says, doesn't make sense. Why would the Green Ghoul leave? Then Clausen pops out saying, he knows why. Then Taylor says, did a talking rabbit just pop out of her backpack? And then Dr. Claus says, oh, it's the girl who cheated on Scott. Taylor says she would never. Then Max says they have to find Phoebe. Then the Green Ghoul shows up, revealing he possessed Phoebe. Max says, you're going nowhere. You're not going anywhere, Ghoul. Then the Green Ghoul uses Phoebe's voice to guilt trip Max by saying, Max, you wouldn't hurt your own sister. And Max says, check the bite marks on her ankle. They're mine and they're recent. Does that mean he bites Phoebe that we don't know? I don't know. Yeah. Green Ghoul says, you want to play? Let's play. Then Phoebe says, then Taylor says, that voice does not go with that blouse. Max and the Green Ghoul have a full-on fight scene. Then a full-on fight scene, but the Green Ghoul wins with a sound blast or a sonic blast. The Green Ghoul says Max is braver than he thought and asks Max to join him. Max says nah. Colosso says let's hear him out because Colosso is a villain. Green Ghoul uses telekinesis to take Max down, and Green Ghoul says he thought he sent the darkness in Max. He could have shaped him into a true villain. Yeah, but Max is just a pretender. Max is just a pretender. Max uses his sea breath. Max uses his Miles reveals he's been frozen, so Max uses his heat breath on him. Uses heat breath on him. But yeah, Taylor tells Miles to go to the bakery and warn Hank that the Green Ghoul's coming after him, but Miles discovers they can't poof due to being frozen. Then Scott shows up, seeing Taylor attending to Max's injury. Max leaves to the bakery, and Taylor runs after him, will tell Scott that Max means something for him. Then Taylor runs after Max. Then Phoebe shows up only to let Hank out of the trap. Then the Green Ghoul reveals he possesses Phoebe. The Green Ghoul says he's gonna get the revenge he's been waiting 20 years for because this dude has nothing better to do in jail than get revenge. Max says leave Phoebe out of this and fight him face to face. The Green Ghoul says no, can't do because with ghost powers plus superpower equals unstoppable. Meanwhile, Frank, boring plot about Billy and Frankie. Moving on. Stop show. You're getting good with this good ghost Green Ghoul plot. Billy and Nora plot. Boring. Green Ghoul plot. Good. Skipping their plot because it's super boring and I don't want to talk about it. And it also interrupts a really good cliffhanger. Yeah. Also, but I do have to talk about it because they get out of the situation. Louis shows up in a flying saucer and is able to get the kids away. Frankie says she says she's sorry. Louis forgives her and flies away. Yay! Boring plot that has nothing to do with the crossover's main villain. Boring. Back to the actual good plot of this crossover. The Green Ghoul is using his telekinesis to make Hank crack on Michelle's coffee table. But Hank says he's not going to fight Phoebe. Max shows up, siding with the Green Ghoul. The Green Ghoul asks Max to help him throw Hank into the center of the universe. Max says before Hank goes, he should know one thing. He would never turn against Hank. He would never turn against his dad. And Max calls him Miles. And Miles, who could just got his powers back off screen, got his powers back off screen. He teleports into Phoebe's body and fights the Green Ghoul. Despite Ray's warnings that two ghosts can't possess one body, then the Green Ghoul leaves. Miles leaves Phoebe's body and they check if Phoebe's back. And Phoebe says she could have been hanging out a sweet Halloween party, but no. Taylor lets the rest of them out of the Green Ghoul. And Green Ghoul reveals his true human form. Which, what? He had a human form? Like, I thought Green Ghoul, since he's the most ruthless criminal ever, he'd have a cool CGI form. But nope, it's just a human form. Kind of lame for a cool villain like him. But Max says, double freeze breath. Phoebe says, if their cross powers will freeze the entire city. Despite in season 1, episode 5, Ditch Day, they did this exact thing of crossing their powers together and nothing happened. This is the most terrible recon. It's the most terrible retcon ever. Like, in episode 5 of season 1, Phoebe and Max crossed their freeze breaths together and nothing happened. Well, in this episode, Phoebe says if they do that again, it will cause the whole world it will freeze the city. Like, what? Like, before it didn't freeze the city, why now is it a problem? Before, in the last episode, the 5th episode of season 1, Ditch Day, they did this exact same thing of freezing. They did this exact same thing of using their powers together and freezing the city. But nothing happened. So, yeah. They do. Yeah. So yeah, in Ditch Day they crossed their powers and nothing happened, but didn't freeze the world. So why wreck on this? But now now if they do it, it will freeze the city. Max says they won't let them cross. They do it and they freeze the Green Ghoul, which looks like a statue, just like Mrs. Wong, which is really weird that usually when they freeze someone, it looks like they're frozen. But now they can just, if they cross their powers, it freezes the person to a statue, just like Max did with Mrs. Wong in season 1, episode 15. Yeah. Tank then puts Green Ghoul in a cage, and Green Ghoul turns into his ghost spirit form, which is like, why? Ray says how now he sees why Thunderman is Miles' #1 favorite hero, and Miles says he never said that. He may like Thunderman, but Ray will always be his #1 hero. Hank apologizes to Max for not thinking he could beat the Green Ghoul, and Frankie and Louie and Nora show up, and Louie tells Billy to open up the trap so they can put their candy in, but they tell him no. So Louie calls them drama queens. Then that joke. Meanwhile, Miles is telling Phoebe she can't believe she helped Thunderman. Phoebe says if she ever needs him, just give her a call. She never needs his. They never cross over again, because unlike the Thunderman, who went for 2 years after this crossover, the Thundermans, the Hathaways, this episode aired in season 2 of the Haunted Hathaways, which was the show's last season. So the show is never yeah, the show got canceled after this season aired. So they never mention the Hathaways again. Miles says, yeah, she can call him with a. Phoebe says she can give him a call. Miles says, or she can call him with a bat signal-like device. Phoebe says, Gong would be better. And Max says, come on, Taylor, they defeated the Green Ghoul. And Taylor says she could have lost a great guy. Then Scott shows up, asking Taylor what's going on. Taylor says these guys are super. And I love how Phoebe's like, don't tell him. And then she's like, super old friends from Sweden. Yeah, Sweden. Then Phoebe does a Sweden accent, and Scott says, welcome to their country, but Scott says that doesn't explain why she ran out with Max. And Max says he lied to Taylor and told her there was an emergency and had to take her home. But the truth is he was trying to keep Taylor away from Scott because he lied, but Max likes her. But the whole night she kept talking about Scott and how cool Scott is and how funny Scott is. She's really into you, Scott. Max says you can't blame her for trying. You can't blame him for trying and leave. Scott says Taylor really said that. And Taylor says, yeah, sure. Taylor says, can you excuse her? And goes talk to Max, telling him he might not be a bad guy. Max says, let's keep that to herself. He has a reputation. Max tells Colosso that Scott and Taylor didn't break up because that's Colosso's joke. He wants Scott and Taylor to break up for some reason. Okay, Scott says first he saves Matt, Hank, now he saves Taylor. He deserves what Colosso did in his backpack. And Max closes his backpack and the crossover. Which is a weird way to end a crossover.